Good morning, friends. Welcome to Godly Play here at King Avenue. As you can see that we are still in those green and growing days. And as we're in these green and growing days, we are going to learn so many really wonderful stories. And these are called sacred stories. And the sacred stories are found in the Jewish Bible, and your Bible at home probably says the Old Testament. Now, these stories are about people who are just like you and me, and they often made a lot of mistakes. Sometimes they were really lost or confused, just like we are sometimes. But during all of this time, they were looking for God and how to come close to God. And as we know, God was always with them, just like God is always with us. So I invite you to sit down and get ready in a comfortable place. I'll do the same. Now, today's story might be a little bit hard to understand. And that's okay, no problem. That's why we come back to these stories over and over again. There might be times when you want to pause this video and ask your grown-ups a question, or maybe ask your grown-ups to reach out to me with your questions. I love questions. Now, grown-ups, if your kids have not seen the other Godly Play stories on our YouTube playlist, you should definitely have them watch those, especially the story of the great family. They really need to know that story first before they watch this one. Also, just for developmental stages, this is a good story for kids who have already finished first grade or at least 7, 8 years old. All right, so let's get ready. Our story starts a long, long time ago in the city of Ur. There was a girl named Sarai, and Sarai means princess. And there was a boy named Abram. They grew up together and in love. And after they had grown up and gotten married, God told them that it was time to leave their home and to find a new place. They traveled so many places together. And when they traveled, they lived in tents like this one. Now, Abram and Sarai had been married for a long time, and they were starting to get old, but they had no children. God had promised them that they would be the parents of a great family, that they would have grandchildren and great-grandchildren. God told Sarai and Abram that their descendants would be as many as the stars in the sky, and that their descendants would be as many as the grains of sand in the desert. But they wondered how this could be because they didn't have any children. But God promised Sarai that her family would be a blessing to the whole world. Well, Sarai was very worried, and she didn't know what she should do. Now, Sarai had a helper, and the helper's name was Hagar, and she was from Egypt. So Sarai told Abram to take Hagar as his second wife, which was a pretty normal custom in those days. And then Hagar was about to have a baby. I wonder how Sarai felt knowing that Hagar was going to be a mother and she was not. Sarah became jealous, and she told Abram that she was not happy about this. I wonder how Hagar felt at this time. Now we know that people do not go into the desert unless they have to. But Hagar was so afraid that she went into the desert. But the angel of the Lord found Hagar by a fountain of water, an oasis in the desert. The angel of the Lord told Hagar that she should go back, that she would have a son, and that she should name her son Ishmael, which means God listens. After this, Hagar said, I'm going to give God a name. I'm going to name God, the God who sees me. Hagar returned. And Ishmael was born. I wonder how Hagar felt when she held her baby boy. Many years passed. God said to Abram and to Sarai, I'm going to keep my promise. I promise that you will have this amazing family, that your descendants will be as many as the stars in the sky, the grains of sand in the desert. I will give you a son. And your descendants will be kings. Your descendants will bless the whole world. God also changed their names to Abraham and to Sarah. And so Sarah had a son, and she named her son Isaac. Now, sometime later, Ishmael was about 14 years old, and he was playing with his little brother Isaac, and he was teasing his little brother, as brothers do. Well, Sarah saw this, and she was not happy. She told Abraham to send Hagar and to send Ishmael out into the desert, that they were no longer welcome. So Abraham gave Hagar and Ishmael some food and some water and sent them out into the desert. But as we know, the desert is a dangerous place. When Hagar and Ishmael had eaten all of their food and they had finished all of their water, they had nothing left. Hagar was so upset seeing that her son had nothing that she put him underneath a tree and walked away. She stood there wondering what would happen. They began to cry. Once again, an angel of the Lord came to Hagar and said, don't be afraid. God has heard you, and God is going to make a great family from your son Ishmael. That's when God showed Hagar where to find water and how to get food. And you know what? The family that descended from Hagar and Ishmael is still alive today. Now finally, when Sarah was full of years, she died and was lovingly buried. But her son grew up and got married to a woman named Rebecca, and the great family began to grow. I wonder what your favorite part of this story is. I wonder what is the most important part. I wonder if there's any part of this story that's about you, or maybe you're in it somewhere. I wonder if there's any part of the story that we can leave out and still have all of the story that we need. I wonder what your family looks like. And I am so thankful that God gives each one of us a family. Now this story, this very interesting story of Abraham and Sarah and Hagar and Ishmael and Isaac, this story is important to 3 different religions. It's important to our religion, Christianity, but it's also very important to Judaism and to Islam. This is a special story that we all share, that millions of people around the world share. Now it's time to change the light, which I did not do at the beginning. We know that this light is with us no matter what, even when Miss Gwen forgets to light it. And that when we change the light, that the light is with us wherever we are and wherever we go.